Hey everyone, and welcome. Today, we're diving deep into a really big shift in how we think about securing our servers. With Windows Server 2025, things are fundamentally changing for server identity, and we're going to break down exactly what that means for you. But let me start with a question for you. Is your server's front door, well, is it stuck in the past? Are you still relying on security models that were built for a time when everything lived on-prem, locked away inside your own network? If that sounds familiar, you're definitely going to want to stick around for this. All right, so to really get where we're going, we first have to understand where we've been. Let's kick things off by looking at the traditional model and see why it's really starting to show its age in our modern hybrid cloud world. I just love this analogy because it's so perfect. Think about traditional Active Directory like an old-school plastic key card for your office. It's great for getting into the building. But the second you step outside, maybe you're working from home or from a coffee shop, that card is basically useless. It was designed for a world where the physical building was the only thing that mattered. And this is where we get into the nitty-gritty. The old way has some serious limitations. We're talking about a reliance on older, let's face it, less secure protocols like NTLM. That's a really ancient way of checking credentials that just wasn't built for modern threats. It also keeps everything siloed. Your on-prem identity is totally separate from your cloud identity. Not only does that create a ton of extra work, it's just not very effective when your servers and your users could be literally anywhere. So, how do we fix this whole mess? Well, that brings us to our next part. Windows Server 2025 isn't just another update. It's about building a solid bridge from those on-prem servers straight into the modern world of cloud identity. And this is where Microsoft Entra ID comes in. So, if traditional AD was the Office keycard, Entra ID is your universal digital passport. It's a cloud-based identity provider that works anywhere for any app or resource, proving who you are in a modern, super secure way. This is basically the new center of your entire identity universe. But you might be wondering, how do I connect my physical server to that cloud passport? Well, the secret sauce here is Azure Arc. You can think of Arc as the technology that kind of reaches down from the cloud into your data center. It makes your local servers visible and manageable right from the Entra portal. It's the absolute critical bridge that makes this whole hybrid identity thing work. And this chart just lays it all out perfectly. Look at the difference. We're moving from a world that was on-prem only to one that's truly hybrid. We're ditching those old, creaky protocols for modern, secure authentication. And we're going from siloed management and a huge administrative burden to a single, central portal that makes life so much easier. It's really a night and day difference in both security and just plain efficiency. Okay, so we've built the bridge. Now we get to the fun part. What new capabilities, what new security superpowers does this connection actually give us? Let's take a look. The new process is just so much smarter than a simple username and password. First, it verifies the user with modern tools. Then, and this is the really cool part, it checks the context. Where is the user logging in from? What device are they on? Is that device healthy? And only then does it grant access based on these really intelligent policies that you set up. It's a true multi-layered defense. And that brings us to our first superpower, conditional access. Think of this as your new, super intelligent rulebook for the front door. You get to decide the exact conditions that have to be met before anyone gets access to your servers. It makes your security incredibly granular and totally aware of the context. And the level of control you get is just incredible. Your policies can check who the user is, their physical location, the health and compliance of their device, and a whole lot more. You want to block all access attempts from a certain country? Done. You want to force multi-factor authentication if someone's on a network you don't recognize? Easy. This is a massive, massive leap forward for your security posture. All right, superpower number 2 is all about finally moving beyond the password, which, let's be honest, is the weakest link in the chain. This integration brings modern, passwordless options and strong multi-factor authentication right to your on-premises servers. So what does that actually look like? Well, we're talking about things like physical FIDO2 security keys, which are pretty much the gold standard, or simple push notifications through the Microsoft Authenticator app on your phone. And of course, the ability to require MFA for every single server logon, which dramatically cuts down the risk of somebody using stolen credentials. Okay, so let's zoom out for a second. These individual features are amazing, but they're all part of a much bigger shift in how we approach cybersecurity. We are all moving towards a zero-trust future. This quote from the source material absolutely nails it. This isn't just some new feature. It's a fundamental change toward treating identity as a centralized cloud-based service, even for your most critical infrastructure servers. Your identity provider isn't just a box in a rack anymore. It's a service you subscribe to in the cloud. And it all comes down to one core principle, the mantra of modern security. Never trust, always verify. What that means is we no longer just assume that because a request is coming from inside our network, it must be safe. Nope. Every user, every device, every single access request has to be verified, every single time. And this new integration gives us the tools to actually enforce that. So what's the big takeaway here? What does this all really mean? Well, it means you get to manage all your server access from one central place, which seriously improves your security. It makes managing these complex hybrid environments so much simpler, and most importantly, it gives you the real technical foundation you need to build out a proper zero-trust strategy. Which, of course, brings us to our final question for you. This is the way the industry is moving, a unified, cloud-first approach to identity that covers everything, even your on-prem stuff. So take a hard look at your own environment and ask yourself, is our identity strategy ready for what's next?